Hey, how's everyone doing? Rabid here. Hope everyone's doing good. It is almost the weekend, and today I think we're going to look at one of these 3060 Ti cards. We're going to do some power consumption tests on it on Ethereum and as well as Ravencoin, because we are going to have to be moving up to sell their stuff with this 1559 coming up, seeing how that plays out, as well as possibly the fast track of Ethereum 2.0, which I highly doubt will be fast tracked, but hey, we never know. So let's look at some power consumptions on these 3060 Ti gigabyte cards. As most of you know, I do have two RX 580 4GB cards. One is right here. The other is on my test bench here. Both 4GB cards, and we're just going to quickly check to see how these guys are hashing on Ethereum currently at the moment. Our 4GB card right there and test bench at the bottom. We'll just slide over. So 26.4 mega hash as well as 26.09 mega hash as of today, which is Friday, March 26, 2021. So these two cards are still putting out pretty good. Seeing how the DAG file was at the end of December when we hit 4 gigs. So yeah, we are looking good. So yeah, let's get into this 3060 Ti test. I just want to do a quick update on my two 4GB cards. Here we are in Hive OS. I did remove my 4GB card. I updated to the latest version of Hive. There is still a newer NVIDIA driver, but anything above 460 does work for a 3000 series card. So I'm just leaving 460.32.03 in for my NVIDIA driver. We are booted up, and if you follow any of my power tests previously, you will know I always read my system first and then I subtract it from whatever our card is, because anything that we add to this from this point on is coming from the card itself. So we are sitting at a 18.6 on the system, so we will roll with that. Oh, 20 spike. Yeah, let's let it settle. So yeah, we're going to go with 18.5.6. Our original number, 18.6 is what we will go with for our system power. So I do have my riser on, and usually when I do these types of videos, I like to just go like you are the first time miner, you've never mined before and not sure what's going on. So here I have my riser, it is on, it is locked down here. Now you got to make sure everything here is tight. If this is not tight and it comes loose, even a little bit, that you have, you do risk the chance of potentially burning out your riser here. This is usually where the power is, in the front here. And it could just fry your whole motherboard, but your riser, including your card. So you've definitely got to be careful with that. And the same thing for the other side. When you put this into your motherboard, make sure you do put this in the right way. Same thing can happen. Fry your motherboard as well as fry this end right here. And it could cause a short going up the line. Yes, there is some power going through the USB cable, which could cause potential burns up here as well. So always make sure everything is in the right way and tight. I threw another PCI Express or VGA cable, depends on your power supply, how it is actually labeled. But we put another PCIe Express cable in here because we will be testing Raven, so I want to make this 100% safe. And that is its own PCI strand in the 8-pin, as well as its own PCI Express strand on the riser. Now it is safe to put two risers per strand of PCI Express. That is recommended, but because I'm testing Raven and Ethereum, Raven does use more power. I'm just going as safe as possible. And I know people, they run out of power here because you are limited with ATX power supplies, but I highly recommend just get yourself some server PSUs. Then you have like unlimited supply of PCI Express cables and you have nothing to worry about. So yeah, now second part here. Here is this pin or plug here for our motherboard, our PCI Express ×1. And like I said, there is a long slot and a small slot right here and here. So this long slot does go in the front, like so, like that. Some people do put this in backwards and it could fry your motherboard as well as your card. So make sure that is incorrect. Also, the little clip over the top here, if you can see, it does fit over the front right there. Try and get that back in there. The angle's a little weird. So yeah, so that is how you properly install your plugs, and make sure it is tight. Like I said, you could burn it. Our card is now booted up in Hive OS 3060 Ti from Gigabyte. We got our power limit 122, 2450 on the mem, and minus 450 on the core with 65% fans. We're just going to have a look at what our actual power consumption is now with our card in. So we are looking at about 83 watts. Our current system is using now with the card. So as you know, a lot of people do say when they do these tests that, oh, my system's 75 watts, 80 watts. So that is with this number most of the time. So if this is what you're doing, if you're measuring your system power with the card in, then when you actually start mining, you subtract this number from your mining number, you'll be dropping the power consumption on this card by a lot more than what it is using. So it will be using a lot more based on your numbers, and if you add them up and you end up with like an 8-card rig, you'll be using like 200-300 watts extra and not sure why. So this is why I do this. We are hashing at 61.46 currently mega hash. Our software is telling us 121 watts. So let's take a look at what we're actually pulling now at the wall. And we are reading 157. Pretty stable there. It looks like the odd peak to the 160 mark now. So 157 peaks to 161. So yeah, we'll go 157.4. Looks like a good number. 157.4. So I added up a bunch of numbers here to see what everything is looking like on Ethereum with this card. So 157.4 watts, subtract our 18.6 of the system. This card is using 138.8 watts. As we did see, it was using 121 watts in the software. We do know that that is incorrect. It's closer than AMD, but it's still off a bit. So we subtract that, our 121 watts of our system, so like of the software, and it is misreading 17.8 watts, no big deal. So this card is using 138 watts, 0.8 watts, and that is at 61.4 mega hash, which works out to be 0.442 mega hash per watt, which is pretty good. 5700 XTs are about 0.42, so they're pretty close on that, but the only thing, NVIDIA cards are a lot better than AMD cards when it comes to other coins like Ravencoin, which is why I prefer it, especially with 1559 and F2.0 coming in the future. I don't recommend AMD cards for that very reason. Anyway, enough about that. So now if we were going to build a 6-card rig based on these numbers, this is an expected power consumption we should see on 6 cards. So 138.8 times 6 does work out to be 832.8 watts. Now, every time you add a card, I always do notice 1 to 2 watts extra per card is added on just for like the cables and everything. So we're going to add an extra 10 watts because that's 5 extra cards on top of the single one. And plus our 18.6 watt system if I was to build it on this system. So that should give us, for a 6-card rig, 861.4 watts when mining Ethereum and your cards are tuned. So that's looking pretty good and not too bad at all. So let's have a look at Ravencoin now, and then we'll look up how they interact with each other and how that could actually affect your power bill, because a lot of people, depending how you pay your power, you're going to be a lot affected more than you think. Before I start Ravencoin on mining, I just wanted to look at the presets that Hive OS actually has and what people are using that are popular. And to me, it just doesn't look right. Like minus 510 on the core, 2420 memory, and a 140 power limit for these 3060 Ti cards. As we know, Kapow and everything does use more core and a little less memory. Obviously, we know also a lot more power. So yes, the increase in that, but they're like using Ethereum settings on these. So I'm going to try these out and see what it looks like. But I myself know we're going to have to put a lot more core, and we could probably tune the memory down a little bit. So we're going to try these settings first and see exactly what comes up. I'm also curious, what settings are you guys using for Ravencoin with 3060 Ti cards, and I can maybe try them out in a different video depending on what I find out on this one. So it looks like about 23.61 mega hash at those preset settings. Power 178, 177. So we'll look at about 178. So yeah, We should be able to pull a bit more out of this, so let's check that out. We're at 200 core now, 600 on the memory, power limit 190. Obviously, we're going to tweak that down at once we find a looking overclock. This overclock looks good, so it might be now. I did try 300 on the core, and as you can see, I'll scroll up if I can find the button. Okay, now it doesn't want to scroll up. Anyway, so it just crashed totally, so I could not go 300 on this core, maybe 250, but looks like 200 is pretty good. Memory at 600 only, so if that was Windows, that'd be memory of 300, and our power limit's 190 at 27.17 mega hash. So we're going to take a look at our power consumption. That's what we're going to try to tweak down and see where we can get a nice setting at. So we're sitting at 235, so 231. Pretty stable. Where's it stable at here? Come on, give us a stable number. It doesn't want to be too stable here. 233, 234, 231. Come on. Okay, we're going to go 233. 233 looks like a decent number, I suppose. I think I found my optimal settings for these cards. It's around 27.02 to the 26.98 range, in that area. Oh, 27.03. So we'll just have a quick look at my settings here. Okay, so key points here. That has to update at 27, but I'm using 140 watts on the power limit. So 140, 135 started dropping too much, and I slowly went up one by one. It seems 140 is the good range. Now for my memory at 600, it seems if I drop it down to say 300, which would be 150 in Windows, if I put this to 300 on my memory in Hive OS, it would drop it down maybe just a 0.5 mega hash or something, not too much. But I did not notice any power efficiency drop, or like it didn't swap at all anywhere between my memory. Now I also noticed anything above 600 did not do anything for me at all. So 600 is the memory I'm going to roll with. 200 core, I didn't try 250, but 200 looks pretty good. And our power limit of 140. Now we're just going to have a look here at our actual power consumption. So before we were at 233 watts at the 190 power limit. So now it looks like 176 or so. 175, 176.7, 177. So I think 176 looks like a nice little middle ground with the odd spike. So we're going to go with 176, I suppose. Actually, now it's going all around. What the heck? 176.5. Okay, 176.5. Hopefully you guys can follow this part all right, because I might even get confused a bit myself. I wrote everything a little close without labeling it. But anyway, first up, we have our default settings that Hive OS did suggest for us, and that was 233 watts. But after our system, 214.4 watts, which worked out to be 0.12 mega hash per watt, which was insanely low. And we were only getting 27.17 mega hash. After we tuned this up a bit, we dropped like 60 watts or so. So we were getting 27.03 mega hash. So 176.5, subtract our 18.6 system. This card is pulling 157.9 watts, which gives us 0.17 mega hash per watt, which isn't too bad. Now, if we were going to make a 6-card rig based on mining Raven only with this card specifically, that is 157.9 times 6, 947.4 watts, plus we got to add the 10 for the extra 5 cards, our 18.6 for our system. We have a total of 976 watts. Now we do the little add up and subtraction here. So we have our Raven at 976 and our Ethereum rigs at 861.4, which is 114.6 watt difference. Now that does not seem like too much, but you start stacking rigs together, it can add up, and it depends how your power bill is actually done. So we're going to go to what to mine, punch in the numbers just for single cards, and see exactly how much power does come into play here. So we got all the numbers, how we had it. So 61.4 on Ethereum with 138.8 power, and on Kapow here, 27.03 with 157.9 watts. Now my power price is 0.068 cents. So if we hit the old calculate here, like so, we can see Ethereum is busting us 500, I wish, $5 a day on one card based on this power price. And Raven is right about here at $3.36. Now, that is how my power is there. But I also have distribution charges on top of my power. I wish all I had to pay was power. That'd be sweet. So my distribution charges is based on the amount of power used. So the more power I use, the higher that fee is, and it actually already, just Ethereum costs more than my power bill itself. So I'm actually calculating when I do all my, because I measure all my wattage and everything to check it all out, I'm actually paying 15 cents all said and done on my rigs. So let's look at our profitabilities again. So now we're down to $4.73, and Raven is down to, where are we at? $3.06. Now, we're going to be using even more power once we swap everything over to Ravencoin at my place. It could be different for you. Like I said, this is for me. So I could be paying up to, like, say 18 or 19 cents per kilowatt hour based on my distribution fees as well, because those will go up as the more power you use. So now we're pretending Ethereum's not even in the game anymore, but how much did our profits drop? We are now under $3 per card on Raven. Now, when 1559 comes into play, or Ethereum 2.0, keep in mind hash rate will hit this network, and that will drop those profits down by probably over 50% more, maybe even 60. Could even be more. It could be like 90%, depending how much hash rate actually hits Ravencoin, because they do not have too much hash rate right now, 10.43 terahash. So say 100 terahash hit that, boom, say goodbye to profits. Same thing for Conflux. They're bouncing back and forth. Actually, they're at 2.39 terahash right now. That's not too bad at all. $3.69. They're doing too good. But say another 6, 7, 8 terahash hits Conflux. Say goodbye to Conflux. Their price has been going up pretty good, but if it goes down, it has to keep going up. If it doesn't keep going up, it's just not profitable to mine anymore. Obviously, an equilibrium is going to have to hit when all this stuff does come into play. I will do a 2.0 video later on. Again, I do have one in the past, but so much hash rate is going to hit all these other coins that it'll take a while for an equilibrium to hit, and it's almost going to be at the point where you are swapping coins all the time, every day, maybe every couple hours, because you don't know what's going on. It's going to be insane when it comes to crypto mining at that time. But that's still a little ways out. We don't have to worry about it yet. But anyway, these are my power consumption tests. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Let me know all your settings that you use, and I'll try them out for myself to see if they work better for me. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and Rabid out.